Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what your kindergartner needs to learn for literacy. This is going to open up a series that in this month, I'm going to be covering what your kindergartner needs to learn for literacy, which is this video, for math, and for writing, which are the three core subjects that children need to master in the early years to set a good foundation for coming years. So I'm going to be sharing with you all of the materials that I'm using with my kindergartner this year. My kindergartner is on the younger side. She's 4, going to be turning 5 in a few months. But you're going to be able to see her work towards the end of the video. I'm going to show you her working on these books and also showing you a look inside of these books. So for literacy, the goal of the kindergarten year is to be able to leave kindergarten reading. You don't have to go into kindergarten reading. If you do, that's great. That's a plus. You're going to have an advanced child who's going to do well. But the goal of the kindergarten year is to leave kindergarten reading phonetic sentences, simple phonetic sentences. So the first thing to accomplish that is letter sounds. That is the basics of phonics. So the way that I teach that is that I use flashcards and I will flash the letter sounds 1 minute a day. A, B, K, D, and so on. And I have a video on what the letter sounds sound like because you want to use the short vowel sounds. So I will link that below. So I will alternate between the flashcards, and I created these I want to say more than 10 years ago, and it's been going. They're just index cards, and I wrote the letters on them, and I laminated them. So I alternate between the flashcards and my letter sounds book. And this is just a book in which every page has a letter and is repetitive. So you would, for example, here for the letter E, egg, elephant, elbow, The repetition of repeating the letter sound 3 times is very helpful, and it goes through all of the letters like this. So I'll basically go through the book, the whole entire book, when I'm doing letter sounds, and I'll practice the book. And we'll use this maybe 2 to 3 times a week, alternating the flashcards to learn the letter sounds. And they will learn it rather quickly. Another thing that you want your kids to learn is the letter names. So once they know their letter sounds, you can use an alphabet chart. You want to use something different than the flashcards so you don't confuse them. I'll link an alphabet chart below. And you want to just start with singing the alphabet and pointing to the letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. And they will learn it as a song. And then you want to take the song away and just say A, B, C, D, and just teach it that way. But you can do that after they've learned their letter sounds. Letter sounds are the most important because when you learn your letter sounds, you can start blending those sounds and you can begin to read. Letter names don't really teach you to read, but they need to be learned as well. Your children also need to learn capital and lowercase letters and how to differentiate the letters. Letter recognition is important for literacy in the kindergarten year. I'm going to be referencing this kindergarten literacy book. And this book contains all of those core kindergarten literacy concepts that need to be learned. So one of those things is practicing the uppercase and the lowercase letters. So they will do matching of lowercase and uppercase letters in this book. And my husband and I create these books because we know that there's nothing out there like these books. We try to create books that will meet standards for the particular grades. I have tried all types of books with my kids. And even this year, I've tried a new book. It was colorful, it was vibrant, but it wasn't meeting the goals of the kindergarten year. And it wasn't child friendly, it was confusing. My child did not like to do it. These books, they're easy to do. You pick them up, they're just learning the core of kindergarten literacy. So they also need to learn letter order, which is taught in the book as well. All of the things that I'm mentioning are going to be here in the Literacy Kindergarten Workbook, and it's a pretty thick book. And so letter order is going to be in here. They need to learn the letter order. They need to know, and there are going to be activities with letter order that they're going to be doing in the book. So they have covered everything with letters for you. So we have letter sounds, letter names, capital versus lowercase letters, and the letter order. That's what we have for letters. In order to teach letters, I like bringing learning alive. And one of the things that I love for teaching letters is our bingo, our alphabet bingo. And we love the alphabet bingo. My kids love it. And basically you would just call out the different letter sounds. Can you find eh? And they would find it. You can also, if you're teaching letter names, also call out the letter names as well. And it is just a very interactive game that my kids have loved for learning their letter sounds. And I will link all of the resources below. Another activity that I like to use for letters is using magnetic letters. So I have these magnetic letters, and I will do different activities. One of the activities that I love to do is having these sound mats. And with these sound mats, I'll have the child tell me the beginning letter sound for these pictures here. So for cat, it would be k. And then the child would take a magnetic letter and they would place it on top of the cat. And that way they're practicing, is bringing learning alive. And they would place it on top of the activity. Stay to the end and I will show you how we do these activities with my kindergartner. So those are two activities that I love, but I also love using magnetic letters for so many different literacy activities that bring learning alive, and they're using a manipulative, and it really, really helps them. The next concept that is needed to be learned for kindergarten that really helps with literacy and reading is rhyming. And rhyming is important because when children learn rhymes and rhyming through songs, through repetitive books, through things like rhyming bingo. I forgot to bring it out, but the same company has rhyming bingo that my kids love to play. And the children learn to segment the different phonemes, which helps with decoding and comprehension skills. So rhyming is important, and you can accomplish that with rhyming nursery rhymes, with repetitive books. And I've made a whole video on the repetitive books that I love to use, and I will link them below in the description box. The next step that I want to mention is you need a reading primer. You need a curriculum that will take you through the 44 sounds of the English language. I want to caution you that most curriculums do not teach the 44 sounds of the English language. A lot of them start teaching sight words. A lot of them are incomplete, not having the 44 sounds of the English language. This is why Elemental Phonics is such a great program, because when you go through the 3 books, you learn the 44 phonograms of the English language, and when you're done with this instruction, you're able to pick up a book and you should be able to read it because you have been exposed to the 44 phonograms. The English language is easy and very simple. You just need to learn those 44 phonograms. And so let me show you a little bit of the book. The book is simple. It's very easy and short lessons, starting with letter sounds, moving on to 2-letter words, then 3-letter words, and finally they're meeting the goal of the kindergarten year and they're reading phonetic sentences by the end of the book. The goal, like I said before, of the kindergarten year is to leave kindergarten. You don't have to do it in the beginning or in the middle, but by the time you're moving on to the 1st grade, you are reading phonetic sentences. So once they finish Elemental Phonics Level 1, they are reading phonetic sentences. My child is doing the Elemental Phonics Level 2 this year. She already finished the Elemental Phonics Level 1 last year. So she is a little bit ahead, and I'm going to show you a look inside of these at the end of the video. So stay tuned. After they have their phonics instruction, you want to move them on now to phonetic readers. and you can find them at your local library. The Bob's books are great phonetic readers. They are decodable books. Try to find decodable books that they're going to be able to practice their phonics with. Do not introduce sight words until the child has a good foundation in phonics. So until they have at least finished elemental phonics level 1 and they are well into reading phonetic readers. One phonetic reader that we are using this year is this one, Phonetic Reader, Simple Sentences and Stories. And it has all these stories that are decodable. So the child should be able to read them with just regular phonics. The only sight word that it contains is the word the, T-H-E, because you need it in order to create sentences, and it's one of those words that you want your child to actually memorize by sight. And talking about sight words, once your children have a good phonics foundation, and once they're already reading phonetic readers from the library, phonetic readers like this one, then you want to start introducing sight words. So sight words are the most frequent words that children will see in children's books. And in particularly, I'm talking about the Dolch sight words. So about 75 to 80% of words children will encounter will be these words. So when you have children memorize sight words, which some of them do not follow regular decoding rules, instead of having them sound out and every single word, they already know it by sight and they can read it. But they can fall upon phonics. They can fall upon phonics if they don't know the word. That is the importance. If you teach sight words before phonics, children will learn to guess at words and they will memorize word shapes. So it's very important that you do not do that. But I think a combination of phonics and sight words really helps create a fluent and strong reader. So I have these pre-primer sight word books, and we have them 40 most common high frequency words for preschool, and we also have the 52 most common high frequency words for kindergarten. I have them all the way until the 3rd grade, and it's very simple. They can cover them in a few weeks. This first preschool one, they can do it in 8 weeks actually. So this first preschool one, in 8 weeks they can cover all of those words. And this next one, these 52 words, they would be able to cover all of these words in 10 weeks. For my kindergartner this year, I am not teaching her sight words until the beginning of January. I want her to get into reading phonetic readers first and get really, really good with decoding books and reading before we get into these sight words. So we're going to wait, and then we're going to start with sight word books, and I'm going to show you at the end what these look like inside. And lastly, what I recommend for your kindergartner, which is going to be very instrumental in their literacy journey, is read to them every day. And I know that's probably something that you hear all the time, but if there's anything that you can do, if there's a single thing that you can do to get your child ahead in education and help them be better at vocabulary, literacy, in all subject areas that helps them, is reading to them every single day. And there's studies that have been conducted on children that are read aloud and the impact that it has on their academics. So read to your children every day, whether you're going to the library, whether you have a novel that you're reading to them every month. That's something that I do. Every month we're reading a different novel here in my home. And sometimes it'll take us into 2 months and we'll be reading the same novel. Right now we're reading The Farmer Boy, and my kids are enjoying reading, listening to all these stories about the farm and all these adventures. And they learn so much, and they don't have to understand everything that you're reading, especially if they're small. For my little ones that are 4 and 6 years old, I love taking them to the library and having them pick out books. I'll pick out books for them as well, and we'll read them. We'll read picture books and smaller books. And I like to ask them questions to help them with reading comprehension and to help them with focus and concentration, to make sure that they're paying attention. And I'll ask them random questions, and I'll just stop reading and I'll ask them a question and wait for their response. And it really helps them stay alert. I also like for children to tell me back the story in their own words. So I'll finish reading a book and I'll say, can you go tell Dad the story that we read? Can you tell Grandma about that story that we read last week? Retelling a story in your own words. Narration. It is such an important skill because you are focusing on your listening skills and then you're retelling back, you're relating back. You are working on your articulation and really your thinking skills as you organize the information to be able to tell it back to someone in a way that they can understand. So those are the two things that I like to do when I read. I like to ask them questions, and I also like from time to time tell them to retell the story to someone else or to myself. And it is really great practice for them. Now I'm going to go ahead and call my 4-year-old now, and we're going to show you a look inside of all of these books. There's one more book that I didn't mention, Explode the Code. If there's a book that I want to recommend to you, is Explode the Code. Another great book to practice phonics, and all of my kids have loved Explode the Code. And is going to focus on phonemic awareness. They get to write the words, and it's really good also for reading because they're reading sentences and it helps on reading comprehension as well. So I highly recommend Explode the Code, and I'll show you a look inside in just a moment. So let me call my 4-year-old so that I can show you a look inside of all these and show you how I do these activities with my kindergarteners. Okay, so let me show you elemental phonics. Gabriella completed elemental phonics level 1 last year, and level 1 has a series of 53 lessons. And as you can see, she got a sticker for each lesson. It starts off with letter sounds, mastering letter sounds. And we would practice here on this chart or with our flashcards every day. Once she mastered that, she went on to doing 2-letter blends, combining the consonants and the vowels, making sure that the vowels, which are in red here, were elongated to make it easier to blend. As she went through all of those combinations, she got to 3-letter words. These are the most common word families that she was able to master. And again, the vowels are in red for elongating those vowels. As she got to the back, she was reading phonetic sentences. And so she was done with that, and that got her to reading phonetic sentences by the time she was done. So completing elemental phonics for kindergarten would be appropriate. You can also do it in preschool for advanced students. But completing this one would take your child to reading phonetic sentences by the end of the year. Let me show you a sample lesson of elemental phonics level 2. Gabby, start with the top, and we'll go over that sound that we're going over today.
Cur.
Cur, okay. And then start reading these words first. Let me go on this side for you so that I can see you better. Go ahead.
Crab.
Good.
Crab.
Good.
Crest. Crib.
Good job, Gab. To the next row.
Crisp. Crab. Crab. Crud. Crust.
Good. Now let's read these sentences down here. Let's read the first one and then we'll move on to the next book so we don't take too long. Let's read that first sentence. Go ahead.
The crab is red.
Good. And as you can see, she's already reaching a level of fluency with these books that she's not sounding out every single letter, every single word anymore because she's reaching fluency. And that is what we want to start seeing when they get to level 2 of the elemental phonics. Let me show you some of the other books now. Let's show you here the phonetic reader, simple sentences and stories. And this book starts off really simple with very short and simple sentences. As it progresses towards the back, it's going to have longer passages. And let's see over here, Gabby. Let's read this sentence so that we can show them how we read. Nice and loud.
Joe and Jim her as a cat. Jim has a cat.
Good. Let's read the next sentence now.
The cat is big. The cat is big.
Good job, Gabby. And as you can see, she has a high level of fluency because she's had a lot of practice with phonetic reading. She already knows that this is a sight word and she will memorize it by sight. It is the only sight word that you will see in this book. It doesn't follow the regular decoding rules. And she's memorized that one. And when she sees it, she can recognize it. You don't want to move on to the next lesson until they have mastered a particular passage that they're reading. So you can take 1, 2, 3 days, even a week if you need to, on a particular passage until they have mastered and can do it fluently and well on their own. Then when they have, give them a check mark here and then go to the front of the book and you can give them a sticker. That way they can see their progression chart and see all of the lessons that they have mastered. Let's move on to another book we want to show you. Here is the My Letter Sounds book. And this one is very simple. It's just a book, a sound book, to go over the sounds. So the child would go over it like this. Ah, apple. Ah, ant. Ah, alligator. Ah, ah, ah. Gabby, can you do it for us so we can practice?
Apple. Alligator.
Then say ah, ah, ah. There is something about repeating something 3 times that helps students memorize as well. So it has all of the letters up until letter Z and all of those short vowel sounds, which are the sounds that they need to be learning when they're learning their letter sounds. Okay, so here's the primer for sight words. Once your child has a good foundation in phonics, they can move on to working on some sight words, but you want to make sure that they are at least done with elemental phonics level 1 and they have a good foundation in phonics. So let me show you what this looks like. This is one my son finished last year, And so it's only 10 weeks of these sight words practices, and every week they get 5 words. Very simple. Then they master those words. They'll read them every day. They'll have a different activity that they're doing. And here's the find in color. And they're also writing them because there is a connection between writing something and memorizing it. Then the next week they get another set of words and they're doing very repetitive activities because in doing these repetitive activities, it helps with memorization. It's actually a memory tactic to use repetition in the activities. And it goes on and on like that. Along with that, I do create flashcards that I will go over for fluency. And I will have the child refer back to the primer master list and read the words that they have already covered. So let's say we are on week 3. I'll have them review week 1, week 2, and then do the week 3 as well. And that is the primer sight words book for 52 most common high frequency words for kindergarten. They also have them for preschool. And again, there are some kids that can read in preschool, so you can start them on these if they can read already. They have to be able to read phonetically already. And so this will be the first one that you would start for those kids that have already advanced to reading. And it's the same concept in these books. And I have them all the way until 3rd grade to cover all of the high frequency words for each grade. Okay, so here's the kindergarten literacy workbook for phonemic awareness, phonics, and vocabulary. And the workbook is pretty thick. It will last you all year for your kids. It starts off really simple with the uppercase and lowercase matching so that the child will be learning that. Beginning sounds is the first concept. It's going to be moving on to middle sounds, then ending sounds. They're going to be working on letter order. As you progress, there's going to be different activities where they're going to be learning different phonemes that are important to learn for the kindergarten year, and it's really going to prepare them for the 1st grade. There's also rhyming activities here. There's writing the alphabet practice as well. There's also, when you go to the back of the book, there's going to be more different activities where the child is going to be working on counting syllables. They're even going to be learning a little bit of the long vowels, which is going to help them be an advanced kindergartner, and they're going to be able to know that before going on to the first grade, which is something that is learned in the first grade. The long vowels are learned in the first grade. So overall, just a really great book, simple, just teaching those core literacy concepts that need to be learned for the kindergarten year. Okay, so here I want to give you a look inside of Explode the Code. I really have loved these books throughout the years, and I've used them with all of my kids. And let me show you what it looks like. So Gabby did the younger ones last year, A, B, C. So let me show you what these look like. This is the first grade ones. They're simple. They just start off with, for example, beginning letter sounds. As the child goes on, they're going to be writing some of those words, reading basic phonetic sentences and finding which picture matches it. And it's just a very simple phonetic drilling book. My kids have loved it. And it is one of those books that they love to do even independently. They learn to just do it on their own, and because it's simple and easy, they love doing it. And I love that it really helps with phonics mastery. So I highly recommend Explode the Code. In addition to your other phonetic books like kindergarten literacy, I think this is a really good combination for kindergarten, for example. They have other books that are for younger students, but I really think that the level 1 would be the perfect one for kindergarten. I think it's more kindergarten level than the other ABC Explode the Code books. So this would be a good combination for your literacy for kindergarten. Okay, so here we have these magnetic letters, and these are from Lakeshore Learning, but you can get any types of magnetic letters. I love these because the vowels are in red, and it really helps with literacy activities. And I love using these to bring learning alive when it comes to reading and literacy. Here we have these beginning letter sound mats, and these are laminated. I will link these below for free for you all. Okay, Gabby, we're going to find the beginning letter sound to all of these pictures, and you're going to put the letter right on top. What animal is this?
Cat.
Cat. Can you find that letter? Good job. What is this?
Octopus.
Octopus. Very good. What is this?
Sock.
Sock. Very good. And you go on and on. So that's one activity that we love to do. Let me show you some other ones that you can do as well. Okay, Gabby, I'm going to ask you for a letter, and you're going to put it right here on the table for me.
Mm-hmm.
Can you find the letter D? D. D. Now that is the B. So that's a perfect example because it's going to help them, yes, with letter recognition and those reversals. So we have D. Now let's find Ah. Where's Ah? Ah. So you just keep calling letters out like that. What about G? G. Can you find G? G.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go from the beginning, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Where's that G? Yes. Now, Gabby, can you read that word to me? Let's see what we have here.
Dog.
Dog. Very good. So you can just keep giving them different words to spell out. First, start with just letter practice, letter recognition. They're going to normally reverse the B's and the D's and the P's, and that is normal. That is absolutely normal, even up to the 9 years old, for children to do that. And this is why these literacy activities are so important to practice and to use these type of letters that really bring learning alive. The last recommendation that I have for games and activities is alphabet bingo and rhyming bingo. These are just great activities. The alphabet bingo, you can use both ways to learn letter sounds or to learn letter names. And when you call out a letter, you can make it easy by at first saying, can you find kite? And then they would find it. Or you can make it harder by just telling them, can you find where is and you tell them just the letter. At first, you want to start with pictures so that they can get the hang of it. Rhyming bingo is just as good, and I highly recommend alphabet bingo and rhyming bingo for your literacy journey, for your kindergarten, first grade, and even preschoolers love these games. I hope that you have enjoyed this video on what your kindergartner needs to know for literacy. In the coming videos, we're going to be talking about math next. What your kindergartner needs to learn for math. And my favorite curriculums for math as well. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do and click on the notification bell so that you never miss a video. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.